Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Um, so I want to talk to you today about a really sensitive topic, a couple of sensitive topics. And I'm going to be sweating like a horse because it is hot out here and it's going to be even worse tomorrow. It's supposed to be heat index of 105 tomorrow from 1 p.m. till 8 p.m. Color me excited. Haha, not. Anyway, so this happened in Valley Park. This is going to be talking about capital punishment. This is going to be talking about details of a very graphic and heinous crime. If gory details bother you, this is not the video you want to watch. Go ahead and click off, and I'll catch you next time. This is not a debate for capital punishment or against capital punishment. This is my personal opinion. This is how I feel, and it's not up for arguing and trying to convince me otherwise and all of that, because you're not going to convince me otherwise, especially regarding the heinousness of this particular case. Okay? So, I'm watching my kiddo. Anyway, so what happened was Johnny Johnson is his name, the perpetrator. And he was a loser his whole life. Y'all know me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. All right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He was a loser his whole life. He did have mental illness. He did have schizophrenia. He did have other mental illnesses in addition to that. However, there are plenty of people who have mental illness and they do not commit horrific crimes. Now, if it was normal to commit murders because you have a mental illness, that might be a different story, but in my book, probably not. All right, so Casey Williamson is the little girl. I can't remember her age when this crime was perpetrated against her. But Johnny basically was a loser. You can have mental illness and still get a damn job. You can have mental illness and still have a somewhat normal life. You do not stop taking your medication. You are not your own doctor. Therefore, you do not stop taking your medication, especially when you know that you have severe illness in your head, okay? So he was a couch potato, meaning, well, no, that's not the proper term. Proper term is couch surfer. People will enable losers any day of the week. But somebody who's trying to do the right thing, live the proper life, people blow them off. But if you are a freaking loser, people will always let you lay on their couch. They will always give you money. They will always support you. They know that if they give you money, it'll go towards drugs or whatever. And as far as I know, he didn't do drugs. But anyway, people will always enable losers. People who are not losers will never get half the help that a loser will get. Why people are twisted and enabling that way, I have no idea. I will never have the answers to those questions. I won't. And it will never make sense to me. Anyway, long story short, he was staying with the family members of, I think it was Casey's grandparents, I believe. Anyway, they were family members of hers, and she was at their house. And Johnny, the loser, was sleeping on their couch because he ain't got no place else to go, which is his own doing. And he also had gone through periods where he stops taking his medication, which means you're going to bottom out. All right? So she was at the family's house, her family's house. He was eyeballing her in a very inappropriate way. Like basically a pedophile, looking at her in a way that a man would normally look at a woman, or a woman would look at a man. An adult would look at another adult. He was looking at her like that. So he knew her family, obviously, he knew them. And so he decided to persuade her to go to this area that had a pit. It was a pit, and she couldn't get out of it because the walls were too high, and he can overpower her anyway. Um, it's really hard to talk about, so give me a minute. So he revealed himself to her, his penis to her, and then proceeded to try to rip her panties off, and he attempted to rape her. They say attempted, which means it wasn't complete, which probably um, means he wasn't able to rise to the occasion, if you know what I mean. And so he tried. He realized that I can't let her live because she'll tell her family, and what will her family do? So he beat her in the head with rocks, and when she still kept moving, he took a boulder and he dropped it on her head and killed her. So the prosecutor was going for the death penalty. I was down for the death penalty too, because you premeditated this entire thing, you plotted it, you planned it, you gave her the execution sentence, and she was just minding her damn business. And when she didn't die, you made sure that she died by smashing her skull. So there was, I guess it was one of his attorneys, or I don't know, advocate for inmates' rights, or whoever the freaking hell he is. He's a bleeding heart. Bleeding heart, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is a major softie. Um, oh, don't execute him. You don't kill to prove a point that you shouldn't kill. I'm not trying to hear all that bullshit. She was a child, and he premeditated. And then he kept harping on the mental illness, the mental illness, the mental illness. First of all, there's plenty of people, like I said, that have mental illness and they don't murder people. So I don't want to even hear that bullshit. I don't want to hear it. Okay? That might sound good on a Hallmark card, but that's not going to fly with me. And he decided to stop taking his medicine, which means he bottoms out. She don't need to die because you can't be responsible about your own medication. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. He just felt so bad, and he shouldn't get the death penalty, and it's just wrong. And that, when you harp on protecting the murderer, to me, you are ignoring the victim. You're like, yeah, she died a brutal death, but don't worry about that. What about what about the murderer? I want to protect him. I want to protect him. I don't want him to get executed. It's not right. But it is right to kill a child, to try to rape a child, try to take her virginity, and to brutalize her. You knew that she could sense that she was going to die, and there wasn't a damn thing she could do about it. And you want me to feel sorry for him? You must be smoking all kinds of crack. Execute that son of a bitch. Some people, I don't necessarily I feel like, life without, parole, I can't talk, life without parole would be good enough. But for him, premeditation, and we're supposed to harp on his mental illness and feel so sorry for him. Who felt sorry for her? Nobody. Okay? He damn sure didn't. So, his defense attorney and the other bleeding heart, and they did everything they could to try to persuade the judge otherwise. Well, thank God, and the jury, I should say, thank God they chose the death penalty. I'm not saying he doesn't have issues. I'm not saying he didn't have some level of possibly some level of mental retardation or schizophrenia, in addition to other illnesses. I'm not saying that he didn't have any of those, but when you commit a brutal murder, vicious murder like that, and you premeditated the entire thing. This wasn't a psychotic break where you just lost your mind, killed somebody, and then you're hysterical afterwards because you snapped and didn't know how or why you snapped it. This was all premeditated. So yes, he got the death penalty, and good for him. I don't care. Now, could I put somebody down, basically execute them? Yes, I could. Because you know why? I'm not so focused on feeling sorry for the perpetrator. I put myself in the victim's shoes. They're screaming for their life. They're terrified. They're shaking. They're crying to where they can't breathe. And they know they're going to die, and there's nothing they could do about it. And the panic and the helplessness. Their whole body trembling, trying to escape, screaming so hard their throat hurts. You think I'm supposed to ignore all that because you feel sorry for the perpetrator? Like I said, you got to be smoking something. You got to be out of your goddamn mind. And for all those people that are against capital punishment, you know, some people say, well, let them stay in prison the rest of their life and think about what they did. No, 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 no. No, you know why? Because that you're assuming that they have a conscience when they do something like that, and it's going to bother them the rest of their days. If they are a sociopath or psychopath, and in some cases narcissistic, he wasn't a narcissist, but as far as I know. But you're assuming this person has a conscience and it's going to hurt them the rest of their life because of what they've done. When they don't have a conscience, it don't hurt them to sit in a cell the rest of their days. You must be crazy. It don't work like that. If you don't have a conscience, you're not going, you know, they supposedly find God. Maybe some of them did. I don't know. But you still need to pay for what you've done. You still need to pay for what you've done. Period. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I just don't. So, like I said, this isn't a debate for capital punishment, and I don't want to hear your sob stories about, oh, don't, I agree, people shouldn't do that, it's terrible. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because if they did it to your grandchild, you'd be singing a different song. And don't sit here and tell me you wouldn't, because that's a load of bullshit. You'd be singing a different song if it happened to someone you love. Now, like I said, could I take somebody and execute them? Yes, I could. I'm not going to sit here and say, I mean, I could talk tough and I could say it wouldn't bother me at all. And when I'm angry, it don't bother me when I'm really in the heat of the anger. But it would sit heavy knowing that I'm contributing to someone dying. But when I look at what happened to the victim, hey, you gave them death sentence, so what's the difference? Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, much love, much love, much love. There's my monster over there. I don't know if y'all can see him. I don't have my glasses on. I hope that's my monster instead of a bear, because we do have bears in Missouri. They're in the southern part of Missouri. But they are moving to other areas that you normally wouldn't see them. Oh, I can't put these on. Okay. So yeah, they're moving to other areas that you know it's not normal to see them there. So anyway, y'all take care, much love, and I'll tell you what, man, when I watched this last night, I was so angry. I was so angry because they kept flashing back to that guy and listening to his sob story about he has mental illness and it's just so awful and it's terrible and oh my God and all these sickening, sad stories. And okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you trust him to be alone with your granddaughter? Don't put him in prison. Trust him with someone you love. And when he does something horrible to that person because he's a murderer now, oh well. Let me hear you sing the same sad song. But like I said, I could put somebody down. I could execute them. It would be heavy on my heart. It would be heavy on my soul, but I could do it. I could do it. It would be heavy, especially the first couple times. That would be, it's heavy. But like I said, I'll remember what the victim went through, and that will help me do it. That would be the propellant to push me in the direction of sending you out of here. And if you go to God, you found God and you go to him, that's good. That's good on you. But if you didn't find God and you go straight to hell, that's on you too. You have no remorse. You don't feel, you don't want to be forgiven because you felt like you had a right to do what you wanted to do. Well, then that's good luck to you. Okay? Good luck. Anyway, I'm enjoying this beauty out here. It's going to be so hot tomorrow. Lord, help me. See how pretty? You guys have seen all this before. There are two ponds over that way, and then there's a large lake down, all the way down. And I'm kind of reluctant to go all the way down there because, I have chronic pain and I'd be going by myself, and I don't know about that. I don't know. And my knee is acting up, so I don't really know how that would work. I'd have my phone with me in case of emergency. I'd have cold drinks with me and something to eat so I don't get weak because heat makes me weak and nauseous, and it jacks me up. Anyway, I don't know if I'll ever tackle that. I don't know. I'll let y'all know. All right. Y'all take care. Much love. Bye.